So with that, closing the mentoring session is Sherry, and then big round of applause to her. And then, this morning, Sherry, Chef Ranveer Bar was saying that he often tells home chefs, and we've had this discussion, that you should not compare yourself with chefs, white coat people, like he says, because he says that they come from a different point of view. There's certain things which are unique to you, so don't lose that. So he said that don't go into this chakkar of scaling and all of that. But of course, people would like to grow their business and things. So let me introduce Sherry to you. So I've known Sherry actually from Calcutta, but she's not, she's partly Calcutta girl, but she's Shimla girl. She was Miss Shimla at one point, but now she's Miss Food in many ways. So I've known her in Calcutta, and then, she started doing, Punjabi food, Punjabi frontier food. Her food came through in different festivals, or she did associations with luxury hotels or top-end restaurants. The lockdown, she also took part in like TV shows, and she appeared as guests, as judges, and then when the lockdown started, she also started her own business, which is Kanak by Sherry, and where she was very clear about what she was going to focus on, which is food of undivided Punjab. So a lot of memories of her ancestors, which come from West Punjab to East. Now the reason why I requested Sherry to do this session, and I'm very glad she could do it, because she had a huge event yesterday at the Mac Street Kitchen. You did raviolis and whatnot with very Daler Mehendi hearts. So Sherry, when I interviewed her for my podcast, Foodocracy for Her, where I speak with women in the entrepreneur space, she said that her first home chef foray was when she was in Chennai, and there were Punjabi executives who were missing home food, and I know such people because I used to work on Ford. So she started creating tiffins for them, and then she moved to Calcutta, she moved to Bombay, and her thing grew, and now she has her own cloud kitchen. So what I've requested Sherry to do is, from her experience, talk about first of all the difference of cooking for yourself, friends, family, versus cooking commercially. That what are the things to keep in mind from the the actual doing of it. We are all talking about brand and all that, but when you get into the Maidan, and then you've also worked with like top chefs and hotels. So any good practices which you've learned, and also for people who want to scale up eventually, like what are the things which can help?
First of all, thank you so much, Kalyan, for having me over. And here I would first like to give a good round of applause to all the home chefs, home bakers, and all those who are running small businesses here. Well, let me introduce myself first. I started my journey 10 years back selling bhindi and rotis in Chennai, where my friends were complaining that, they are just getting dosas. They were North Indians, and if they can just get some chapatis or paranthas to eat. And at that time, business was not there in my mind. So I just told them that, okay, I'll just cook and send across. So the 4 meals turned into 40, and 40 into 400. That was where, it has to be a game change for me, totally. And with lots of learnings, we established our first brand, and I called it Sherry's Kitchen. Why Sherry's Kitchen now? Like Kalyan was talking about the branding, it was a learning for me because I was not focused with one cuisine at that time. They were Rajasthani families who were actually asking me for dal batis, and I was cooking dal bati for them. Then there were people from Haryana who were requesting me white butter and parantha, and I was actually cooking for them. So I just named my brand as Sherry's Kitchen because there was not one focus which was involved there. But slowly with time, when people started demanding the real Punjabi food, I realized that I need to change my focus, and that focus was to make people aware about my cuisine. Now my cuisine is something which is very, very close to my heart. I'm very, very emotional about it. My close people know how emotional I am about my food. Kanak is a COVID baby, so that happened 2 years back. So with a lot of practices at home and reading books and talking to people and doing my research, I started making people aware that, Punjabi cuisine is not about butter chicken and dal makhani. Now, when I wanted to expand my business and I realized that, my food is in demand because people are curious to know what my food is all about. There were a lot of factors involved in it. Now, the first factor is the focus. Now, you cannot open a Punjabi kitchen and just call it spirits. If you close your eyes, if I ask you, you want to eat best dal makhni, where will you get it? I'm sure you all have some restaurant in mind. So even if you want to have the best pizza in Bombay, you'll have some brand in your mind. That was the first thing I realized, that it cannot be Sherry's Kitchen. If people want to know about my food, it has to be, related to my emotions. It should talk about my emotions. So I named my brand Kanak. Why Kanak? Those who are aware about Punjabi food, we are the biggest suppliers of wheat to the entire world, not only the country. And that's an emotion. That's an emotion in many ways. And I thought that will connect to many people. Now, the second factor was the menu designing. Many people, they scatter themselves with different cuisines and, they just want to do everything. So I believe that we should focus on our motive. If you are doing macaroons, like what Pooja Dhingra is doing, you can just only focus on macaroons. If you are promoting a certain regional cuisine, you should only focus on that regional cuisine. You don't need to scatter yourself. Oh, okay, someone is calling you one day, can you do Manchurian and chow mein for me? Like, I'll say no. So focus is extremely important. I believe that. And now, the third important and integral part is the procurement. If you're running a business and you are a home chef or a baker, you cannot just open apps. You cannot just order from Dunzo, or you can just not go down and take, vegetables from the normal stores. You need to do your research well. You need to go around and look at the vendors where the prices will differ. So that is one of the important and integral part to save on your costing while designing a menu. Also, when you're designing a menu, you have to consider a few points. The first point is, one should be your anchor menu, which is always available. When I say always available, it should always be there. And then you can have your weekly menus. Now, having an anchor menu is also an exercise which comes with time. I have been selling meat Billy Ram from 10 years now, and so that has also come with time, where I realized that people have recognized me and they know me because of that curry. But like I said, you need to have weekly menus as well as anchor menus. Now, coming to the fourth and another important part of running a home business is your packaging. Now, when you are selling curries, I really want to focus on, many people question me that, why plastic, containers? Well, Tupperware is also a brand. Yeah. So focus is the food, not the containers. So if your food is good, I think that's all going to speak end of the day. Of course, you have to keep certain things in your mind, the spillage and everything, what Kalyan also discussed and made a valid point is, I believe that, your food has to be right. There should not be too much detailing into it where you feel, okay, I need to make it a restaurant style menu where I need to put a lot of things and elements into a dish. You are a home chef. You are promoting your dish the way it is, and it's an emotion. Most of us fail. I still fail in that, is delivering your food. I strongly believe that there should be the right communication with your client before sending the food and after sending the food. Because that is something where we all fail, because that's something not in our hands. Sometimes riders are not on time. Sometimes, the apps are not working. There is low connectivity area. Our food is getting cold. We are worried, oh my God, the customer is waiting for the food. It's a big stress for us. So just communicate right with your customer. That's very, very important. Also, whenever you are sending out any of your dishes, you have an order, I believe the right communication with your client is extremely important, where you need to discuss the allergies. Maybe something you are cooking, it's your emotion with peanuts, but maybe a person, might be allergic to peanuts. So having the right kind of communication with the customers is extremely important. Taking their feedbacks is extremely important. I personally believe that, at least with my brand, it was all word of mouth. So it's not only about the food. I'll do the right packaging and I'll ask them to taste the food after 1 hour so that they can give me the right feedback. Last thing which is very important is that you should be consistent with your work on social media. Like he said, see, it's not important that you need to be a professional photographer. If you look at Kalyan's page, it has always inspired me. He will not plate the food or make it look fancy. It is the way it is, but he's a storyteller. Yeah. We look forward to his posts. So I believe we all should follow that. So anything anyone wants to ask me?
Hi Sherry, as you discuss about the consistency, so when we are making a food like for example for 5 people, and it's a different that when we are delivering food for the 50 people, and in process of scaling our business, how do we make sure that the one plate cooking for a 1 people, the taste and flavor should remain same like cooking for a many people, and especially that when we don't have so much resources and like one person cannot do quality control, and how do you make sure that it remains same?
That's a very good question, Lalit. So, Kalyan told us about Ranveer Barar, and he spoke about chefs and home chefs. So I believe if I have to put it right, they went to the classroom and we did our homework. That's the only difference. And that's a huge difference, I must say. So for me, who's not been to that classroom and being a home chef, it came with lots of learning. I did blunders. As I'm telling you, we should be open about criticism and failures. So if I was using 6 pieces for 1 portion, I started measuring it 6 into 25 because 1 portion is for 2. So 1 portion is for 2. That's how I started doing my homework. Ideally, I learned when I had my cloud kitchen that a standard portion size should be for 350 to 400 grams, which serves 2 people. So I started working on that. And when you're cooking in bulk, the number changes. And that's how I started doing my homework.
Sometimes there's also the way things react chemically. So it's not always necessary that
Absolutely.
because an onion can have a certain power.
Absolutely.
But there's one thing which went in my mind when he asked the question where he said that I might not have the resources to do 50 people because I'm alone. So I would also recommend that you take as much as you can do properly. If on the other hand you want to do 50, then you might have to invest and get in some hands, no?
So another important part of running a kitchen is your tools, it's your equipments. If you are aware of what kind of equipments you need in your kitchen and how many portions you are ready to deliver. So this has a very valid point which he's brought up. Also, I wanted to bring up this point that when you are starting a small business, please do a homework on your area. It's extremely important. I learned this with my first business, which I started in Chennai. Since I was cooking for the corporates, I realized that, they are only looking for daily meals, so their budget was not much. They were not looking for something very elite or, very high-end food. So you have to work around your menus according to your area also.
So with that, it's a fabulous session. I'm so glad you did it. And Farzana's here.
May I present a medal to you? I was sitting there and for the last 15 minutes listening to you. I'm all ready to start my own home chefing now.